Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Today we tell you how many D's and F's Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah gets for his off-season free agent signings.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. Don't let Arif fool you. I am not AI. And here's a bulleted list why.
Good point. Thanks for the feedback. I have trapped Luke Braun into a box with 4 other chat bots. In order to get out, he must answer these riddles 3.
What's happening, Luke Inman at Luke_Spimmin? Until I win a FanDuel bet, I'll be auctioning off my cold open airtime to the highest bidder.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
What's up, and welcome in to our Thursday Viking Squad Show, streaming on Locked On Vikings, on demand, wherever you get your Locked On Vikings podcast. You met the Lukes, you met Arif. And again, I am Sam Ekstrom. We do this on Mondays, we do this on Thursdays, we do this after the games. It's an hour of Vikings talk coming right at you, and it's brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Before the show is over, we are going to grade Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's multi-year off-season signings, A through F. We'll see how that comes out for him. I will ask the guys the following question. If J.J. McCarthy develops into blank, would you be cool with that? We also do my favorite segment, nobody else's, Crystal Ball Game Balls. If the Vikings can win on Sunday, what does KOC say in the locker room after? And, of course, we've got the full Green Bay Packers report. What's the path to an upset? Let's find it, because we are still interested in the Vikings trying to win football games. And, again,
I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Kind of. It's the number one sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let's dive into the Green Bay Packers. Let's give them a deep dive. They're atrophying right now. They've got some ailments. Tucker Kraft out. Josh Jacobs out. Elton Jenkins
Jaden Reed
out. Jaden Reed out. Watson back. Lucas Van Ness maybe back. They're missing some pieces though. They've been playing down to a lot of opponents. The Panthers, the Browns, the Giants, you could argue, even though they won that game. So what is the path to an upset in the building where the Vikings have won each of the last 2 years in fairly convincing fashion? We just lost Luke Inman.
All right, that was...
He looked up. He's trying to hour lads, the Packers roster.
Under 3 minutes in.
Well, I mean,
already.
have you seen the injury report? He might have just Googled the Packers injury report.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of text to load on the screen.
Yeah, it is.
So what's the path to an upset, Arif Hasan?
What's the path?
What's the path?
Probably stop whoever is running the ball. It sounds like they're a really, really run dominant team, especially over the last couple of weeks, and they don't do a ton of play action off of it. It is very unusual because they're very, very efficient off of play action. So I wonder if that's going to change. But I don't think that the Vikings' overall defensive structure or approach necessarily needs to change. I mean, you take a look at Jordan Love's numbers against zone and numbers against the blitz, and they're both like quite good, right? And so you would think, hey, maybe the Vikings should change their approach. But there's just so few examples of someone dealing with what the Vikings do up front with what the Vikings do at the back end that I don't know that a ton of numbers are going to be all that useful for breaking down what they do. And so just put them into 3rd and long after stopping, was it Emmanuel Wilson? I don't know who's running the ball.
Emmanuel Wilson would be their number 2 back, and he's been
fun.
out carried like a bit more than 3-1 by Josh Jacobs. Total workhorse.
He was like an undrafted free agent from like 2-3 years ago, had a great preseason. He's fun. He's very fast. Stop him, put him into 3rd and long, make Jordan Love make real decisions and play real football. And then the Packers probably drop some passes along the way. That'll help. It's just who they are. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so they lost Ben Sims. They lost Tucker Kraft. They are benching Luke Musgrave. I forgot who the other tight end is, but take care of that guy, I guess.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. I am concerned, Braun, that the defensive approach of just holding teams to field goals, giving up a lot of yards and a lot of time of possession, might be a little haphazard against a team that is best on third down in the NFL, ninth best on fourth down, fourth best in the red zone. The Packers offense has not been outstanding, but it knows how to convert on those KOC phrase, weighty downs.
Yeah, it's John Fitzpatrick is, by the way, I believe, going to be the main tight end.
You created that player.
I don't know who that is. But it's funny. Talking to Peter on the crossover about this that just went up this morning.
Our favorite Packers guy, Buko. Yeah,
Bukowski, who I know all of you are big fans of. Well, I had a big conversation with him on Locked On Vikings. Go check it out. And he gave a lot of insight to this that I do think you should all listen to. One of the things is that the Packers have been really good against cover 2, which the Vikings like to run cover 2 a lot, and they've been able to hit that, and that Jordan Love has been pretty safe with the football. So I don't know if it necessarily comes down to those third weighty downs. And I think the Packers can afford to be a team that punts a little more than they want to, as long as they don't turn the ball over, because the Vikings can't turn them over in turn. Yeah. And that the Vikings will give up turnovers. I think if the Packers can win that turnover battle, which hasn't been very hard to beat the Vikings in the turnover battle, I think they can have a much easier time. But those games, the Cleveland Panthers games that got closer than they should have, like the Giants game, have kind of been defined by these super key moments, like that 4th and 8 against Carolina, or that really bad own side of inside your own 20 interception against Cleveland. Those are the kinds of things that have really sunk the Packers, and the Vikings need to find those opportunities. They need to punish. They need to have what they had a couple years ago against Jordan Love, where they had 3 interceptions because he was heaving balls to nowhere. But he's been a lot safer with the football, so they're going to have to find that aggression again. And you can't have games like what you've seen way too many times this year, where the defense is playing so conservatively and keeping things in front of them so much that their only way to get a turnover is to tackle high and peanut punch. Especially if Josh Jacobs plays, he's going to punish that really bad. But honestly, I think most running backs worth their salt can do so, and most tight ends worth their salt can do so, even though it's not Tucker Kraft. They have to find a way to turn over Jordan Love, and they have to find a way to earn it without hoping that someone just gets loose with their ball security, because nobody's going to do that against you anymore. You're the peanut punch team.
I will say Jordan Love has only had 2 pass attempts this year against a defense that was both blitzing and running cover 2. I don't know. That's the weird.
I don't think that's a common one for the Vikings either. They probably run a lot of quarters behind their blitz.
Yeah, well, and this year cover 6. There's a lot more cover 6 this year than there ever has been. But I'm just a little bit kind of skeptical, I guess, of using, because we've seen this with a lot of quarterbacks before. When we break them down, we look at what the Vikings do coverage wise, and then it's just a completely different whatever, right? Because the Vikings blitz package is so unique that it feels kind of it feels like we're working backwards if we're trying to see how quarterbacks do against a coverage if we don't pair that coverage with a blitz that the Vikings will have, right? So, the Vikings do a lot of sim pressures, obviously. I think 2 weeks ago I last looked at this, they were number 1 in sim pressures as well. So, 60% or whatever blitz rate they're doing, crazy, whatever. And then on top of that, another 18% sim pressure. It's really about confusing the quarterback. And while Jordan Love has been better about dealing with confusion this year than he has been over the past 2 years, and he's been safer with the football, which is, I'm going to say that's a low bar actually compared to the last 2 years, but he's been safer with the football. I just don't know that our evaluation of what Jordan Love has done thus far this season is going to carry us into giving us a ton of information about how he's going to do specifically against the Vikings.
Yeah. And I think that's a constant about Jordan Love, is that he is a week-to-week proposition.
Yeah.
And that's why the Packers haven't been, when they traded for Micah Parsons, they immediately became a Super Bowl favorite in everybody's eyes. And I don't think anybody now would say that they've lived up to that expectation. And it's because they've had games where they've shown up and not been that same guy. And, games where Jordan Love will just miss a lot. And maybe those misses are safer than they used to be, but it hasn't been that good. Or games where, the run defense isn't what they want it to be, even though they have
Jerry Jones was right.
Really good. Yeah, right. Jerry Jones. Well, don't look at his run defense. But I don't think that they've created as consistent a team as they thought that they were creating. And so you have to kind of find a way to make it a bad day for them.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what strategy. I'm sure there's a lot of different strategies you can try to take to look at that, but you have to try to make it a day that, you know, is different than like what they did against the Steelers, where they just sort of puff their chests out and steamroll. As long as I can remember, the Packers have had that in them where they just puff their chests out and just steamroll somebody and win by 25. And this cannot be a game where you show up completely asleep like you did against Atlanta or LA.
The Packers defense seems like the more consistent side of the ball for them, and they probably should have 3 more wins than they do if that offense had showed up against Cleveland, Carolina, and Philadelphia. They held those teams to 13, 16, and 10 respectively.
They barely beat the Giants.
And barely beat the Giants, needed a late touchdown. You've got a defensive line that's got the obvious threat. Micah Parsons, phenomenal year. Not surprising. Rashawn Gary's been giving them a lot on the inside as well. What's the biggest concern matchup-wise on this O-line versus the Green Bay pass rush?
It's wherever. Probably Michael Parsons rushing inside, actually.
Yeah, Michael Parsons just spinning inside, doing Zadarius Smith type stuff.
Yeah, taking on the rookie, taking on what looks like. I mean, is Will Fries going to play? Is DNP with a knee? We'll see what that's about.
Yeah, I expect him to play, but that is a thing.
O'Connell didn't mention it, which is weird. So we'll see if he's like back to full and it was just like a little bit of soreness or whatever. But I don't know. Sudden DNP with no word, I'm a little worried about.
Oh, the guy with an injury history specifically with his knee. Yeah.
Yeah. It was his time. The Grim Reaper has come for everybody. But I would say it's Parsons on the inside there. Or it's just the Packers realizing that they can kind of send everybody and make JJ McCarthy panic. And, a lot of the pressure that the Vikings have incurred has been JJ McCarthy, drifting into it or holding the ball too long about it too. So that might not even come down to matchups. It might just come down to which direction JJ McCarthy happens to go. And then that guy's the guy that gets the production.
Right. Yeah. It wouldn't shock me if the Vikings, just like this last week, leaned a little bit more into the running game that we're used to seeing from Kevin O'Connell.
A lot of teams do that against the Packers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Packers pass defense has been sound. 4th lowest net yards per pass attempt against them, 5.2. Their cornerbacks, Keyshawn Nixon, Javon Bullard, Carrington Valentine. The mismatch, I think you want to get guys singled up on Bullard if you can. Bullard feels like the vulnerable spot.
Yeah, no, moving a guy from safety to cornerback, I feel like you just always want to target that guy. Carrington Valentine has improved really significantly since he entered the league, so I don't want to be too, but again, that feels like a name that I'm comfortable attacking, but for sure, Javon Bullard, I think, is somebody that you want to pay a lot of attention to. It is a little bit more difficult now that the Vikings have reduced the amount of motions and shifts in their offense to, enable or ensure some of those matchups, which, if they're playing man coverage, the Packers only do 30-ish% of the time anyway. You can't necessarily, guarantee that you're going to get the matchup you want, but it is a little bit tougher to hunt for matchups, which is a trade-off I'm comfortable with. But it is like, all right, we ended up with Adam Thielen on Javon Bullard, which, sometimes that's great, but I'm looking for Justin Jefferson and whoever is dealing with that mess.
Yeah, no question. And then you got Edgerrin Cooper to deal with at linebacker for the Packers as well.
Player.
Yeah, what a baller. Really, really good. I want crystal ball game balls when we come back. I want to know what KOC is going to say after the second consecutive time you go on the road and beat a division rival who's favored. That's next on the Squad Show. We're brought to you today by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, little decisions. What are we going to get at the grocery store for dinner? Which pump am I going to go to at the gas station? We don't get paid for those little decisions, but at Prize Picks, whether it's NFL, NBA, both can jump in the action and get paid for being right. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. Pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get those right, you win. Takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup. You can play anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. We put together a fun Prize Picks entry last weekend. This group did, and it was only short because of Arif's insistence that we use Jonnu Smith in there.
I was robbed.
Needed 3, got 0. It's fun to do cross sport as well. You can combine NBA and NFL. In the new Stacks feature, you can select more on multiple stats of the same player. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Welcome back on the Squad Show. Make sure you check out all our content this week. We had a show Monday. Ron Johnson Show analyzed J.J. McCarthy on Tuesday. That's on Locked On Sports Minnesota. And then on Wednesday, we had Reggie Wilson and Julia Daniels from Care 11 talking purple against Green Bay. My favorite segment, Crystal Ball Game Balls, where we forecast what the post-game scrum is going to sound like. Let me give you a sample. I'll go first so we can launch into this. We brought this guy in for a reason this offseason, fellas. A guy who knows what it takes to win in the National Football League. I could tell during his
Luke Inman
rehab.
just popped in, and it sounds like you're just talking about Luke Inman now.
You ready to go, guys? Let's start.
The game ball. Luke Inman fighting through the Wi-Fi interference.
Got
Tech
these space
issues.
heaters going on, man. We remember
Resiliency.
those issues we had 2 years ago with these space heaters going on. Did I miss the keys to the upset?
You did.
I did.
Why don't you give us one, though?
Well,
I'm
I'm sure you guys went over JJ's got to play a clean game and you know setting up third
actually
and long
didn't say
for
that at
Jordan
all.
Love.
We didn't talk about
nobody
J.J.
talked about
McCarthy
JJ.
one bit. It was nice.
Yeah.
I was actually just going to mention, assuming you guys had already went over all that stuff. How about the hidden yardage stuff this week? The special teams, the penalties on special teams, the field position. Just no back-breaking errors. I went to that Bears game last week, as you guys know. No back-breaking errors at the end of this game. It's late November. You're going into Lambeau, division game. They're usually close. That kind of stuff, those hidden yardage kind of categories, we know that's the difference between what could be a 3-point win and a 10-point loss. So, again, after the J.J. McCarthy's got to play a clean game. You don't need to be Superman. Just be efficient, no turnovers, put together some long drives, help the defense out with some good field position, and try to set up Jordan Love in that offense in third and long situation as much as possible. But those hidden yardage stuff, again, special teams, penalties, field position, that's going to play a huge factor, I think, in this division road matchup.
Yeah, Vikings are 19th in average drive start this year. They're 7th worst in opponent drive start. And here's the big one. Vikings are last in average time of drive. 32nd in the NFL. Not sustaining, not winning that time of possession battle. So am I supposed to just like re-rack the crystal ball game ball?
Yeah, no, you gotta
rack it.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta go get a football.
Find it within yourself again.
You guys tap dance. I gotta go get a football.
Oh, okay. Hey, it's great that Keyshawn Nixon isn't returning kicks or punts anymore. I'm really glad the Packers decided to make him well, he's actually pretty decent at cornerback, but hey, now he's not returning stuff.
Bo Melton.
What's been going on with Bo Melton?
Bo Melton 2 weeks ago.
He's Travis Hunter. Come on.
Yeah, was their fourth cornerback on the roster.
A game on either side of the ball.
And then I
It's
remember
not even true anymore.
He was like their third wideout the last drive of the game, and on a 4th and 3, 4th and 4, something like that. Ball hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it. So Bo Melton was having a tough go 2 weeks ago.
So he is Travis Hunter. That's awesome.
He is Travis Hunter. Yes.
Yeah, that was the Philly game they couldn't win, right?
That sounds right. Was that 2 weeks ago?
Was Bo the guy who had a crazy garbage time game at US Bank late last season? Well, someone had 170 yards.
Yeah,
no,
it was
not
the
the one the Packers
breakout
won.
Jaren Hall game.
Okay, so that's not the one I'm talking about. Someone was it Wicks?
Yeah,
it might have been
I think it was
last
Wicks.
year.
December 31st, 2023, 6 catches, 9 targets, 105 yards, and a touchdown.
Okay, that was Melton.
33-10 win over the Vikings.
Last year, I was wondering who went off when the Packers were way behind and then made that charge. That's kind of been what the story's been at Lambeau, actually. Really 3 of the last 4 times. The Vikings have built a huge lead, and the Packers have given them a scare at the end that didn't come to fruition. Crystal ball, game ball. They use blue footballs now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We brought this guy in for a reason this offseason. Season maybe hasn't gone the way he hoped, but he knows how to win in the National Football League. I could tell during his rehab, this guy had a fire in his belly. He had a special look in his eyes. And it wasn't the concussions. It was a look of desire.
Jesus
He showed
Christ.
up for us today. 0 snaps over the quarterback's head. No holding calls. No false starts. We rushed for 175 yards, and this guy was paving the way. Ryan Kelly.
It would have been really funny if you.
Watch out, Ziggy! Watch out!
Yeah, whoa, hey! Would have been really
For
funny.
the
if
audio
you-
listeners, Sam just threw that haphazardly into his living room, and I think I heard something break.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like very like cartoon, cat yelling, glass shattering kind of Tom and Jerry bit there. I was kind of hoping you'd go with Michael Jurgens at the very end there. That would have been extremely funny. Like the concussions bit wouldn't have made sense, but I would have let it slide.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Not
tough to
concussion.
follow that. Who's up?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, it's been kind of a quiet 2 years. Last year didn't go quite as well as maybe a lot of people on the outside would have wanted, but we knew what you were doing after we drafted you in the first round. We knew that it would take time to develop, to get your mechanics right, to make sure that you were ready to succeed, right? And you've had a lot of really great, high, excellent games this year. And we've wanted you to just become consistent. And you did it today. Dallas Turner, 3 sacks.
CT.
4 tackles for loss. Get that game.
Spike that football. Spike that football. Pants on the ground.
I told Purse I was going to do this.
All right, I'll take the next one.
Go for it.
Look, I know we do this every week, all right? But I've got to end it with this guy, okay? We're ride or die with you, all right? We rally behind you. Give it up. 180 passing yards. Yeah, we got 3 interceptions. We got to work on some things. We know we got to clean some things up, and we're going to keep working. All right? 35 on the ground and a touchdown. JJ McCarthy, get on over here. Break it down.
180 passing.
Break it
yards.
down,
Such
9.
a good detail.
Break it down, 9. 9 sacks? 9.
Tough to top. I was gonna go with the JJ angle too. Who had JJ survives the week without getting benched on live TV on their bingo card, huh? I mean, every talking head out here, they're diagnosing the mechanics, the being dead last in accuracy, the 9 alter ego. Keep doubting, and we'll keep ruining their Monday morning segments. We'll keep making Luke Inman make his Monday morning montage video for his clicks, okay? Let's make those experts look stupid again next week. JJ McCarthy, get on up here, bud. Come on.
The cement
Break us
has
down.
dried.
Break us down.
Let's go.
The cement is dried.
And now I need the JJ breakdown, because I feel like that, if they win enough games, will become its own bit. It already is. It already is.
When
He might just run it back with the dog in the
mode,
street.
Just go straight Terminator and
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit 0-2. Like the big boisterous post games never yield good results the following week, right? Like you gotta the Darnold water on Darnold.
They still haven't
Send
recovered
him-
from that.
Send
Water
him
on Darnold.
careening.
I need someone to do like a breakdown of Vikings post game locker room videos and then check on the records afterwards. We have to like categorize
Fantastic.
them as like,
fantastic.
you know, potentially viral mega post game breakdowns versus just normal ones, and then just
Yeah,
see what
I
the
think
record is.
2022 kind of ruins this because you've
Oh,
got
this is
like
true,
the
yeah.
shirtless Kirk Cousins on the plane, and they were still on their
Kirk
winning
Chains,
streak, and they,
right.
So,
they
I
had
mean,
all kinds of these.
If we
famous moments
isolate it
with,
to
like-
just locker room videos, we might be able to avoid the Kirko Chains effect. Maybe.
yeah, but you still got the like walk in your trap thing that was happening every time. Like there's a lot of energy in those locker rooms, and then they just
Yeah.
kind of kept winning. And I
I'm
think
trying to remember if
it's like
did
10 of
Buffalo
them. Like it
locker-
ruins so much.
Did Buffalo locker room have anything notable about it? Because Kirko Chains was Washington. Then remarkably, they went to Buffalo and won after Kirko Chains. And
Yeah, it was
then
the
they got
second Kirko
demolished.
chains. Like they
By
put
Dallas.
more chains on
demolished
him.
the
So
week
it was,
after.
it was kind of a
they
continuation
put the
of the
chains
bit.
on him in the plane right
On
after
the plane.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
No, after
That's not-
Washington. That was
After
Washington.
Washington.
Okay.
And then it was the next week was Buffalo, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
but like he
Yep.
didn't. He
Yeah.
wasn't wearing the chains in the locker room, right? He was doing it.
It was on the plane, but then for Buffalo, I think they did it in the locker room because
Okay,
it was a bit
okay.
by then.
Right. Yeah.
And they like
Which-
all put chains on him, and it was like, yeah, but it kind of feels like a sequel.
What a
Like,
time
something.
though, because I was like kind of already getting kind of sick of that bit. Now I just want it back.
Yeah.
I miss it.
I liked it when you miss it when they won, right? Always talk about fraudulence.
That
now.
was fun.
Yeah, look, I mean, like people would be fine with Jameis Winston eating a W if he consistently had W's, right? Like I think that's the nature of these bits.
what's wild? That kind of caught on. People say it now.
Eat a dub.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like when you have like this ironic attachment
it's
to
like
something,
post-ironic,
then
and
it becomes
kind of
post-ironic, and then it like that's the attachment.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
As with all things
Jameis
with
needs
Jameis
his own
Winston, wait
reality
enough time
show.
and he gets away
When
with it.
he
Yes.
hangs it up, I would watch. the
Jameis is going
reality
on Amazon Prime panel. He like instantly. It'll
Yeah,
be Fitzpatrick, Whitworth,
show. More Jameis content.
Sherman, Jameis, Gonzalez. How many guys can they fit on the table?
I don't even
An
need him
interest-
on the panel. I just want to follow him
it's
around
like a
his
little
house
bubble
and
in the
out
corner
his
of
yard.
the
and
screen where he just like says
going to the
stuff
grocery
sometimes.
store.
Jameis Cam.
Going to the grocery store, stealing crab legs.
That's it.
It's fun.
Just for the bit. He does it just for the bit.
I miss the post games with Zimmer because VEN had to cut so many times
Oh yeah,
because of what I'm sure was being said.
Or they had to do that, cable
Or-
censoring.
they would do like
Yeah.
the silent.
This Mickey
censoring.
Mouse bull squash.
A voice actor just chimes in with appropriate
I'm-
language.
I'm sick of these Monday to Friday snakes on this Monday to Friday play.
Oh my gosh, we're expecting Ron Johnson soon. As we wait for Ron, I'm going to ask the question: if JJ develops into blank, are you cool with that? That's next. We're brought to you today by FanDuel. FanDuel is the best, unless I'm doing touchdown parlays for our contest, and it has not paid off for me. But the NBA is here. College football and college basketball happening simultaneously. NHL is a ton of fun, and of course, the NFL. There are dozens, nay, hundreds of ways to wager on these NFL games. Once they get the props going, usually it happens on Thursday. It's yardage props, it's scoring props, it's passing, receiving. It's all there. It's all available for you to have fun at FanDuel, FanDuel.com, FanDuel Sportsbook app. Live wagering in play. Same game parlays in play for a shot at some big payouts. Keeps the game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push and you've got that live line. Head to FanDuel.com. New customers get $300 in bonus bets when their first $5 bet wins. FanDuel.com. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back on the squad show. Since it's Packers week, let's just start with this. If J.J. McCarthy develops into Jordan Love, you cool with that?
That would mean that they basically win out this year and then sneak into a 7 seed and then beat the 2-seeded, I don't know, like Eagles or somebody. I think we'd probably be good. Like that's how this, because that's what happened in Jordan Love's first full year.
So
You went 9-8.
you think if you develop into quarterback X, you also get their team results? That's what's happening. Yeah, I'd be happy if he's Eli Manning, but like,
Okay, no, that is fair. That is fair. But you would get like the Toyota-thon streak where he plays like 5 games at the end of the year as like a top 5 quarterback.
So okay, if he develops into a quarterback who broadly resembles the silhouette of Jordan Love, right, where it's very volatile, high highs, somewhat disappointing lows, not like low lows, but like somewhat disappointing lows, aggregate above average performance, improving in success rate, but like essentially a volatile quarterback. It would be a fun kind of frustrating for sure. I guess given the likely trajectory for McCarthy at this point, I wouldn't be upset if it ended up at a Jordan Love style quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if I woke up tomorrow and you're like, oh, he's Jordan Love now, I'm like, well, that was a lot better than what the alternative felt like it was going to be, or the trajectory, like Arif said, 5 games into the season. Still not like the home run splash when you take a quarterback in the top 10, a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes that you never know in the draft, right? But yeah, certainly better than what it feels like right now, 5 starts in on, November 20th, 2025. You'd take Jordan Love for sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about it. He's ahead of Jordan Love. Jordan Love he wasn't starting yet by year 2,
Yeah, I think Jordan Love had just gotten out of the QB3 pit and had become QB2 at this point just now. So he had finally gotten past Tim Boyle on the depth chart.
QB3 for a year. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to work on
and
footwork.
then some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to work on his mechanics. Need the cement to dry.
Yeah, the cement hasn't dried yet. It bothers me so much that the first time he says this quote, it's cement and not concrete. And I use that, and now a bunch of people are correcting me. It's like, I know. I watch concrete videos on YouTube. I know.
He said both.
He did.
He said concrete and then cement in the quote.
No, he said cement first, and then later in the quote, it's concrete.
Oh,
like later in the interview, it's concrete. But it's like, I know the difference between the two. He has used them interchangeably. That's not on me. Anyway, Jordan Love's cement hadn't dried yet.
Braun, would you take it, Jordan Love? I don't know if you've answered the question yet.
Oh, actually thinking about if by year 4 it's still, because that was when Jordan Love first really started. So if we are following this trajectory, and by year 4 he's volatile enough where the prospect of paying him is genuinely controversial, that probably isn't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm viewing this as more of, forget about the years and like the direct comparisons, but like more so if the finished product of JJ McCarthy ends up being Jordan Love. I think Arif kind of viewed this the same way I'm viewing it, that the rough silhouette of Jordan Love, where you're gonna have these runs, you're gonna have these games where you just black out. Honestly, sounds a little Kirk Cousins like to me. But your team is gonna probably be in contention. I think that'd be an appealing comp. I think I would be fairly happy with that development, because that means you're going to see the potential on a routine basis. You're going to see the flashes, and you're going to get tantalized by that, and you're going to convince yourself that it's going to be the norm every single week.
Maybe Jordan Love with a Justin Jefferson and a Jordan Addison looks a little bit different too. Who knows?
Maybe. I think I'm going to stick to no then. I mean, if you rewind to like 2022 or 2021, all anybody wanted was to get something other than an expensive but inconsistent quarterback. And I think if you went through all of this draft, develop, suck for a couple years, try to get it, and then you end up back at expensive but inconsistent quarterback, I don't think a lot of people would be satisfied with that. I think you would hope for something a little bit better. And the hot take that I've held to is that eventually Packers fans will feel that way about Love.
So Friedrich Nietzsche had a take on this one. Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence suggested that if we were faced with the prospect of repeating our life and we didn't immediately say yes to it, we're essentially, living our life wrong. And I think the prospect of repeating the Kirk Cousins experience is something we should enthusiastically embrace.
I think they were living their lives wrong.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
I mean... Are we all happy with what happened in 2020? Or
well, no, but it was fun.
6 years, one playoff win.
I was able to write some pieces. I had some fun.
We did have fun.
Well, that year football's just a game. Doesn't really affect me that much in my day to day. But when we're having fun, I bleed for sure. Let's do it again. Run it back.
Luke Inman's favorite team is the Jacksonville Jaguars, which means his favorite quarterback is Trevor Lawrence. Would you be happy if Trevor Lawrence was the end of the road for the J.J. McCarthy project?
Is he good?
We have to have the conversation about what we think who Trevor Lawrence is.
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is that good.
I've refrained from having a Trevor Lawrence take this far. I'm going to continue to do so. I don't know a thing about him.
I think Trevor Lawrence is good. I think he's an above-average quarterback. I think he's held back by the insane situation regarding his receiver core, where once they find a good receiver and then they add another receiver, the other good receiver suddenly becomes bad.
It's
just,
like a cursed amulet
yeah,
gets
right.
passed between them.
And it's like I don't know what he's supposed to do about that. I think he's broadly good. I think Trevor Lawrence is broadly good. I think that his pre-snap and post-snap diagnosis is fantastic. I think he has a lot more in terms of touch. I don't know. I think he's a broadly accurate quarterback. I think he's broadly making good decisions. I think he's broadly on time. And those would be fantastic elements to incorporate. I just wouldn't want to port to the team results over, like in the original interpretation of the Jordan Love scenario. I don't want that. That would suck. But to have a quarterback as generally skilled in the ways that Trevor Lawrence is skilled, I think actually would produce a lot of wins for the Vikings given their defense.
That's true when it comes to just kind of these traits, right? Number 1 overall pick, former number 1 overall pick. A lot more elite traits to work with for sure. You mentioned the pre-snap, post-snap diagnosis. That's definitely something that's intriguing for sure. It's just up to this point. You're right. I mean, as we know, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, list goes on and on. The quarterback environment, the ecosystem kind of determines a lot about, not just wins and losses, right? But things like touchdown to interception ratio, sack percentage, things like that. And it's kind of hard because every name we go through, Sam, I just keep thinking, well, if this guy had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and KOC, maybe things would look a little different. So trait-based, for sure, I would definitely be very intrigued with Trevor Lawrence. But obviously, we can't change the traits of J.J. McCarthy.
Let's take injuries out of the equation. Tua. If he became Tua, who is he's a bit of a shell now.
Disaster.
That's
Yeah.
even the high end Tua, early McDaniel era, high end Tua. You wouldn't take that.
That's
no.
You're asking for an advanced Madden controller. No. I don't want that.
I no, and I don't think that the Dolphins are going to stick by Tua either.
Yeah, and I don't think it actually is
6-year run of
nor should
accomplishing nothing.
Yeah,
they're headed for a reset, obviously.
And Sam, I understand the point that you're making, that the Tua now that we're seeing now is not necessarily the Tua we saw a couple years ago when McDaniel first arrived. He's been beset by concussions and perhaps his own internal demons, and veneers, I guess. And it's not working out, right? I get what you're saying, Sam. But while I would love the production that Tua had in those first couple of years, if I'm doing like I did for Trevor Lawrence, if I'm doing like a traits-based analysis of this quarterback and seeing how they fit into an offense long-term in a sustainable way, I can't rely on a couple of tricks in the fastest receiver in the NFL in order for this offense to continue to succeed. You're not always going to be able to hang 70 on Denver, right? I would love that production. I wouldn't love a quarterback in the rough silhouette of Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, I don't know if J.J. McCarthy can throw left-handed either. So
yeah, I don't like that. Yeah,
it's tough.
Of the three that I offered up, Love, Lawrence, Tua. Sounds like you guys would prefer Jordan Love, as would I.
I hate this.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I guess,
here?
yeah.
I don't like what you did there.
I
had to be careful. I couldn't. If I went too obvious, then it would just be unanimous yeses.
If I could take Trevor Lawrence's traits, physical traits, pre-snap, post-snap diagnosis, things like that we went over, maybe it'd be closer. I think it's maybe a little bit more of a coin flip.
Sam, it's tough, but I would take current day Josh Allen if that's what he turns into next year.
I guess
I would.
You would. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, that would be all right, I guess.
Yeah.
I've reached a conclusion on JJ. I think I
Already,
knew this
huh?
was
5
true
games.
for a while. And this is my final. No, I think we for so long tried to say, hey, he was in the building for a year. That should count for something. My conclusion is I don't think it counted. I don't think it counted.
I don't think it can.
With
It's a
him
lost
not
year.
being on the field, like that has
I
to
agree. I
explain
put
some of the
way too much
technique
stock
stuff.
into that as well.
Yep.
Watching film, just being around the whole environment, right? The whole ecosystem that we.
I
always
just
say. But
I don't
that
think we were
year-
wrong to. I think you should get something out of that, and they didn't.
For sure.
I think that's a critique we can levy at the development process, that they did not get enough out of that year. Obviously, you wanted him to play. That would have been better, but I think they could have gotten more than they got out of that situation.
I like Sam's idea of treating it like the gas leak season in Community, where it just like never actually happened.
Oh, true.
But everyone is like mysteriously a year older.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm comfortable with it. No, I am ashamed to admit I'm kind of with Luke Braun on this one. I think that we put too much on McCarthy's capacity to improve during an injury year, but that year certainly should have led to something more than what we're seeing now, right? Like, and we were sold a bill of goods about what he was doing that year, right? That he'd logged all of the defensive tendencies of every single defensive play caller in the NFL so that he would have a better understanding when he broke down film during games this year of what those defenses are doing. And it's like, I would have loved to have seen you do that. I mean, he's not making like awful decisions, but like it still feels like there's just so much about the way that like his time spent recovering was billed to us in terms of development that was not actually taken advantage of. And I think the Vikings and JJ underutilized that opportunity. But I do think that we also bought in way too much, like beyond what was reasonable in terms of how fast he could hit the ground running.
I guess I would question, he had the whole offseason from the draft to his rookie year in August. So he had all of OTAs, all of that minicamp. Then post-knee recovery, I think he had a good amount of this past offseason to work out some of the technique stuff. So I would question, what did you do there? Because these seem like rookie year problems that he's encountering. But I think if we want to have optimism going into 2026, it has to be that this is his first year on task. This is his de facto rookie year. A lot of top 10 picks, once they get to year 2, that is much closer to who they will eventually become. There's a huge track record of it. Year 2 is a big year for these top 10 caliber picks. So I think you have to believe that this is, in essence, the first year. And that next year would be the de facto year 2. To have any hope of this thing becoming a Jordan Love outcome, if you will.
We do have reporting on that last year, in season and all of that, most of the attention was on Sam Darnold, as it has to be, because you're preparing him for games. And that most of the interaction that McCarthy got, outside of every once in a while calling on him on the classroom to make sure he's paying attention, was Grant Udinsky. Mm-hmm. And maybe we could have put a little bit more effort into that rather than just kind of throwing the assistant QB coach at it. Mm-hmm. But that might have cost them some of their success last year. And you would go, oh, wow, they were, under coaching Sam. Maybe he wouldn't have been nearly as good last year if you did that. So, it's an easy trade-off to say I would have taken in hindsight now that you knew they lost in the wild card round. But that's probably, there's a decision in there somewhere that maybe you wish you had back about time allocation.
Yeah. And you were also on an absolute heater last year. Yeah. So you needed to focus on the then and the 2024 of it all. That's what I want. Here's what I want. Macho Meach. We were sold a competitive rebuild, but our roster is the oldest in the league.
Our defensive roster is the oldest in the league. The total roster is not the oldest.
And here's my question around that. I mean, I think the competitive rebuild is over. Like this was the target.
They have built what they thought they were building.
They turned over the roster. Yeah. I guess the question would be, did they think that after the 3-year competitive rebuild, they would still have to rely so much on Band-Aids? And
they probably thought some of those draft picks would work out.
I think there had to have been a hope that there'd be younger pieces on this roster when it was all complete, because this is the product. Competitive rebuild is done. Like this is what they were trying to create.
Yeah, they've experienced the Brian Asamoahs, the Ed Ingrams, the Andrew Booths of it all.
Mm-hmm. I still want to grade his off-season multi-year free agent signings. There's 6 of them. And we'll do that after a very quick pause on the Squad Show. And make sure to check out the Squad Show after Sunday's game. That'll start probably about 3:15 Central Time Sunday, right after the clock hits 000. All right, 6 names. Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, Will Fries. Byron Murphy Jr., Ryan Kelly, Isaiah Rodgers. Those are 6 multi-year free agent deals that Kwesi shelled out. A lot of money. I want a letter grade on all of them. Let's start with Javon Hargrave. Luke Braun, you're going to be the most vicious. Let's have you go first.
Well, you've benched him, so we'll go like a D minus. You've gone from he is a key part, like he's a key cog in the offseason plan to improve interior pressure, to I would like him on the field for no more than 15 snaps a game. We've very much changed our minds on this guy, but you can't change how much you're paying him. So that's going to be a D minus for me.
He is a valuable player to have on the roster. Clearly, they have exceeded what that might mean, and have. And
this is such careful wording. It's like you're talking about the Epstein files.
I'm trying to save you, dude. I don't want the show canceled.
What are you gonna do? Yell at me on Twitter?
But I think it's good to have a player of his caliber on the roster. I think that paying him however much the Vikings would, like 18 million, I forgot now, is maybe a little excessive. I would say that this is a D plus.
I was going to go with a generous C minus on this because he has swung a couple games. When you have that big an impact on a couple games that had good results, I elevate you, even though the benching thing is real. Luke Inman?
Yeah, C minus as well. Obviously not even close to what you expected when you brought him in, but it's in there somewhere. You see flashes, and he has impacted a couple games just enough to keep me quietly optimistic that he's going to put it together eventually.
Eventually.
This 33-year-old veteran's going to put it all together this week.
He just needs time.
I will say.
Can I add one thing to that? Is the reason that he has been taken out of the lineup so often was very evident on the last 2 years of his tape. You could have known this. You ignored it, and now you're getting punished by that.
I'll also say it's fantastic that he has shown up big in big games and has been a difference maker in positive ways. The problem with evaluating defensive line play is that the positives are easy to evaluate and the negatives are very difficult to evaluate. And so in the manner in which he has lost games for the Vikings, insofar as a defensive lineman can lose games, is kind of invisible. So I don't know that it would be fair to say he has been a huge impact player in a couple of key games in a positive way without acknowledging that he has been an enormous impact player in negative ways.
Yes. In particular, Atlanta and LA.
He was so bad against Atlanta.
Yeah, where those were kind of your 2 worst moments of the season so far.
Let's get Ron Johnson in to help us grade guys. Ron, we're ending the show with the following activity. We're giving letter grades on Kwesi's biggest free agent signings. We have Javon Hargrave kind of in that C or D range. Where would you give a letter on Hargrave, and then we'll keep going around with all the different names.
So, I mean, I'm just looking at the Vikings from a number standpoint, 7th in the pass defense, right? I got to give Hargrave a bigger number in that because that was the biggest issue. Now, run game wise, they're 22nd, so you could ding them there. But I think the biggest was getting pass rush on quarterbacks without having to bring multiple guys. And Hargrave, I mean, Jalen Redmond's a part of that too, but I'd say Hargrave helped out there. I got to go with a B minus.
B minus. What about Jonathan Allen, Ron? Would you go higher or lower than Hargrave?
I would say about the same. I mean, honestly, I'd say Jonathan Allen is a B minus as well. For the sim, I mean, they're a duo when you look at how they, throw them out there in that 3-4 defense. I would say Allen a little bit lower because he hasn't flashed as much as Hargrave, I feel like at times. But, when you actually watch the film, I think for the most part, he's eating up double teams when he's supposed to. I'm always going to be a guy to say, look, we don't know what his assignment was in this. We don't know what he's been asked to do in this. Like, because people are like, oh, he looks like he just got, demolished by 2 guys. Like, what was his role in that? Like, what is is he just supposed to try to eat up guys so that they can run the double linebacker twist? You don't really know. So I got to say, like, he hasn't been getting pushed back on the run game where you're seeing him on skates. I'd say put him right there, that B minus.
Yeah, I've got a solid C on Jonathan Allen. He has been missing tackles at a higher rate than he has in his career. And I think the combination of Allen and Hargrave hasn't helped enough. In fact, your run defense has gotten worse this year because neither have been exceedingly good in that run game. Let's do quick grades around on Jonathan Allen. Inman, what do you got?
Yeah, C-. I just had a lot of high expectations. So compared to my expectations, maybe he's a little bit longer in the tooth than, I thought he was coming in, or just a step slower. But I thought he was going to have a big impact this year. Not to say that he hasn't had some impacts, just not to the degree that I thought. So C- for Jonathan
Allen. So I gave Hargrave a D+. I'm going to give Allen a C+. I think he's a pretty good player. It's just you're not getting what you're paying for him. I think that he's doing a pretty decent job in pass rush. I think he's doing actually a bit better than decent job in run defense, but I would just like him for him to finish. He's getting pressure. He's getting into the backfield to get to the running back, and he's not finishing as much. Not as huge a deal for a defensive lineman, because usually that leads to gang tackling and you're fine. But it would be nice. So C+. He's not producing to the level that his contract would warrant.
Braun?
I'm in the same range, C+, B-, somewhere in there. He's probably paid more than what he's doing, but I think he's doing plenty. I don't really agree that he's done the same as like Hargrave. I think he's having, in my opinion, a more visible and consistently positive impact.
It's consistent.
Sometimes, yeah. So he gets washed out of it. I don't know of any run fit where you want the defensive tackle to get washed out, and that's happening to him a lot less. So I'm perfectly satisfied with him as a starter on the team. Maybe you paid him where you want him to be more than just satisfied, but as far as evaluating the problems of this offseason, I am looking elsewhere. So I'll go with like a B-. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, let's lump the corners together. So Ron, you've got Murphy and you've got Rodgers. What grades would you give on those two guys? Murphy with the 3-year deal, Rodgers with the 2-year deal.
Oh man, I mean, I'd say some games they're A+, right? I mean, you got turnovers, you got impact plays.
Do you have turnovers? I've never heard of a turnover on our team.
Been a minute.
The Bengals game, right? We got the Bengals game.
Yeah, he blocked the kick, man.
We'll always have
Isaiah
the Bengals
Rodgers
game.
been like the dude for that.
You got exactly. We'll always have this. There's like a love story. We'll always have Thanksgiving.
What about breakfast in Cincinnati? Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, again, I'm being a little bit too positive in this, but I'd say from an overall, like, busted coverage, getting absolutely torched, like, what are you doing, Cam Dantzler type moments? We're not seeing those, like, I got to give them with a B. Like, turnovers push them into an A. Like, if they were getting turnovers, for sure, A. But I'll go with a B. I think for the most part, Isaiah Rodgers is a little bit, in my opinion, better than what I thought he was going to be. And I think Byron Murphy just does his job. Like, he just goes about his job. But yeah, could there be more turnovers? Yeah. Like, are they not taking as many chances as they should? Maybe that's why we're not seeing guys just get absolutely torched, because they're not going after picks. They're just staying behind the guy making the tackle. Maybe that's what they're being told. Hey, don't give up the big play. Let's make them bend, but we're not going to break.
Yeah, I'd give a B on Rodgers this season as well. I think he's impacted enough games. He makes plays. He's around the ball a lot. Has lost some battles in man-on-man coverage. I will confess that. But Murphy, you signed him to such a big deal. I guess I would have expected a little more shutdown quality, but a B- for Murphy. What do you got on them, Inman?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew what we were going to get from Murphy, though, too. Like a competent CB1, but not a guy that you consider the shutdown island type of dude. You leave out there on the big alpha wide receiver ones and feel great about it. But he's been competent for sure. Again, though, paid him a lot of money. I'd say B- if I pulled both of them together. Some goods. Not a lot of bads, which is solid, but not a lot of playmaking, I feel like, that we saw last year under the Brian Flores regime. So B-, slightly above average, I'd say.
Yeah. Arif?
I mean, $18 million a year is not like outstanding cornerback money. It's hefty, right? So you're asking for a little bit there. So with Byron Murphy, who I think has been playing good, not great, and the contract wants a little bit more than good, but it doesn't demand greatness, I would say Byron Murphy is like a BB+, right? I think that he's playing all right. Isaiah Rodgers was only signed for $5.5 million. So I think as a starting cornerback, there are a lot of concerns here. He's very volatile. He creates big plays and then he allows big plays. And I wouldn't want that in a consistent starter. But for $5.5 million, I actually think you got more than you bargained for. The issue is not signing Isaiah Rodgers to that contract. It's just not having enough competition in the cornerback room in general. We're grading individual contracts essentially. And so this contract to me is an A-. I think that you're getting a lot more out of him than a $5.5 million contract. And so I'm comfortable with it. I wish the Vikings had a little bit more stability in that room, because if you have a big play guy that creates big plays for you and then allows big plays, the rest of that room needs to be really rock solid.
Braun, quick ones.
I think that outside room has been totally fine. It's still, I think, being hidden by some of the coverage. We just talked about how much cover 2 they run, how much cover 6 they run. That hides the corners. It's been a weakness on this team for a while. Those 2 guys are not my issue with it. So if you're just talking about those contracts, I think they're fine. I'll try to give them an uncontroversial B- and move on. But the issue is a lack of depth, like literally not bad depth, but literally no guys. They don't have they walked into the season with 4 cornerbacks on the roster, and Fabian Moreau, who didn't go to camp, on the practice squad. And like, that's been the entirety of the room. They played the numbers game wrong and they've been punished for that at times this season. So I would give that, like, that's drives me insane. That's a full F, but it's not Rodgers and Murphy. Those guys aren't the problem.
Yeah. Last one, Ron. I don't know if you can grade Ryan Kelly, kind of incomplete with his season, riddled with concussions, but Will Fries, the one healthy guy on the offensive line. What do you think on Fries?
Oh, so this is a tough one for me, because the Fries Kelly thing were supposed to be together. Like the stuff they had talked about this offseason, in the run game, in the conversational pass game stuff, as far as like, we're not going to see, free runners, because that's where the whole Bradbury, who's the other guy that left from
Ed Ingram.
Ed Ingram, that's where some of the stuff we were seeing with them was just the lack of understanding who's supposed to block. I mean, a la Cleveland Browns. If you watch Cleveland Browns try to block 3 guys or 1 guy with 3 guys, like, that's what we were seeing. So I'll say Fries. Oh, man, this is a tough one. You know what? I'm gonna be a little bit nice on this one. Like, I think I'm gonna go A-. Like, I feel like Fries is keeping the middle of that pocket pretty clean. Like Kelly, I don't like, the jury's still out. Like, who knows? Does Fries, suffer because of the backup center being in there? I don't know, but it looked pretty good. Like, running the ball to that side, they do a really good job of moving people, creating lanes for Aaron Jones. So I got to go A-.
Yeah, let's go reverse order this time, Braun.
I'm not going to quite go that nice, but I think the O-lines as a whole, this is the core of, you took injury risks and then those risks came to fruition. I'm going to go with just like a straight up C, because I do think those players, when they have played well, but they were both injury risks. And now we've seen the second of those 2 injury risks burn you. And it does sort of, it's the whole theme of the free agency thing is, you signed a bunch of old injured guys and now you have injury bug issues. So well, I'll go with the C. I'm very mixed about it.
For me, I mean, Will Fries is the 6th highest paid right guard by average, and 11th overall guard, and ranks like 5th in total guaranteed money among all guards. They paid him quite a bit of money and a lot in guarantees, and so I would expect something better than an above average performance from him. And I think we're getting an average performance from him. He's not playing like he did in Indianapolis, in my opinion. And so from a contract perspective, like, I'm fine having him on the team. I think he's playing at a starting level, but the contract, I think, demands more than that. And that's what's giving me a C- grade for him. I just think he's not playing up to the level that you would expect or hope, even after you account for like the communication issues that come with having, a couple of games without your right tackle and almost every game without the center. I think even when you account for that, it's not playing up to the level I think the contract demands.
Yeah, well said. I'd go with the C. The player itself, big upgrade from the Ed Ingram situation we had the last 2 years, but fine, not great. Again, compared to the money that you're paying him, you'd expect a little bit more. Again, not the weakest link on the starting 5 offensive line right now, week to week. It is an upgrade, but for that money, not quite the bang for the buck. I thought I give it a C. Fine.
B minus for me on Fries. Up against the clock, Ron, but I want one key to the upset against the Packers on Sunday.
Yeah, so in a 3-minute drill, when you look at their defense in the red zone, so my key is in the red zone, JJ McCarthy can't go with trick plays. Like, you got to straight up just read the defense. And again, that's where we're going to see the rubber meet the road this weekend. Can he just step back, read the defense, and make the throws? When you look at the Cardinals, it was Jacoby Brissett. When you look at the Cowboys, it was Dak Prescott. Only thing they did was they looked at the scheme, cover 3. They run a lot of cover 3 down there. And they run a lot of like 2-man. And so if you run routes where you see the DB's back turn, he's got to just take the tight end underneath. Like, he can't try to force the ball into the end zone. And when you see a lot of their touchdowns, it was on second down because they knew, okay, let's just make the underthrow because we still got another down to try to score. I feel like Kevin O'Connell, when he gets inside that 12, that 15-yard line, he's not trying to get that next first down at the 5-yard line. It's like, I want to go for it all right now. So that's the key. They got to be patient in the red zone and be willing to take some of that.
You can find Ron Johnson on the Ron Johnson Show on Tuesdays, Gophers post game on Saturdays with Luke Inman, Vikings post game with all of us on Sunday afternoons. Ron at 3Ron Johnson on X. Thanks so much, man.
Appreciate it. When you guys talk to your stuff, man, think about the grade you gave Fries. Think about the play calling. The coach called different plays. So just saying, they ran the ball a lot more.
You got Jonathan Taylor. Not wrong. Good stuff, Ron. Love
all
it.
right.
Love the Thursday chat. We are going to end the show with our FanDuel bets. Again, this is where we stand. Luke Braun is absolutely obliterating us. All of the positive regression is coming back in his favor. He is plus $4,000 more or less after starting with a mythical 1,000. Arif Hasan is in second with 722. He's 3,000 behind. Inman is 3,000 in the hole with a 6-16 record. I am 6,000 in the hole with a 5-17 record. The bets are getting more absurd. I start this week, and I'm going right back to the well. Touchdown parlays. Jefferson and Wicks. Jefferson and Wicks to score touchdowns. 1,000 to win 10,600. Luke Inman next.
We laugh, but it's just going to take one. It's just going to take one.
It's just going to take one.
And you're right back in this. I'm going max bet JJ McCarthy. Did he run once last week? I think that changes. 16.5 over -114 max bet.
Max is 1,200 this week because it's week 12, and -114 were the odds. You said, let's go to Arif Hasan.
I asked 5 different chat bots if if Jordan Love was going to hit the over.
He did not ask me. I'm not in that list.
Sure.
I'm not a chat bot.
No, for sure, dude. If Jordan Love was going to hit the over on his 237.5 passing yards, they all said he was likely to hit the over. So I'm taking the under at -114 with the minimum medium bet. So $480 to win for $21.05.
He's had like $180 or less the past 2 weeks, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah.
Not great.
What is the yardage number again?
237.5. And I think what's driving this is in part, A, it's pretty close to a season-long average, but B, they don't have Josh Jacobs. And so I think that they expect the Packers to throw the ball a lot. And it's just like, I don't think that's what they do. So
Braun, pick 2.
Firstly, I need to know how many mins and maxes I have left. I do not see.
Ron, you have 0 maxes, 10 mids.
Really?
Yeah, you're out of maxes. 10 mids, 4 minimums.
All right. I'll go with 2 minimums then. I'm going to do a parlay for the first one.
Ooh.
The second quarter spread and the third quarter spread. The Vikings have either been good in the first or fourth quarter in every game and in no other quarters. So I feel like the middle bit of the game, the halftime 2-minute debacle kind of thing is in my favor. And the Vikings, when they do kind of sleepwalk through a game, they don't tend to wake up until there's about 10 minutes left in it. That is those spreads are second quarter Packers minus 2.5 and third quarter Packers minus 1.5. And parlaying them together is plus 232.
Okay.
I am going to put
minimum 120.
I'm going to put the smallest possible medium, which is 480 on that. And I will put another 480 on just a straight up good old fashioned Green Bay Packers minus 6.5 spread.
What is the line on that?
That is minus 110.
Thank you. Arif Hasan, bet 2.
Jordan Addison over 39.5. This guy's getting tons of targets. At some point, the ball will find him. I believe. $480 over 39.5. Minus 114 is the line.
Locked in, another medium bet. Luke Inman, got to make up some ground.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go Vikings 6.5 and the under. That only pays plus 235. That's not enough. Vikings to win by 1-6. I should commit to my bit. I'm not gonna. I love Addison as well. 50 plus yards. So slightly different than Arif's. 50 or more yards at plus 154. He had so many drops, but again, like Arif said, he's getting a lot of targets. I think he's due plus 154. I'm gonna go max bet.
So you're going to have 2 maxes left after this week, as will I. I'm putting another 1,000 on Aaron Jones and Christian Watson. Touchdowns to win 82-70. 8,000.
I like that one.
And you know what's bonkers?
Here? What's going on? Aaron
Christian
Jones
Watson and Aaron
touchdowns by
Jones
Jones and Watson.
Okay, I can
And
see them there.
Certainly this is the year
See
Aaron
that one.
Jones scores in Lambeau, right?
This is the worst ever. I could win that bet and still trail Braun by a pretty good margin. I would win that bet and I would be about 1,500 behind, assuming Braun kind of treads water here. It's bad. Dire straits right now for your boy.
It helped that I won a max bet money line plus 130. That was a sweat.
It helps when you just win consistently or just don't go 0-2. That also helps.
Well, yeah. But like most of my lead is on the bet I just made. If I had lost that one, it'd actually be really close.
Yeah, I was pretty upset.
He's just betting against the Vikings. That's the angle. Unfortunately, they're not going to provide as many juicy opponent money lines from this point on, I don't think.
He's
Maybe
got such
the
a big
Commanders
lead at this point.
Giants.
He might be okay with that.
You got to be, now he's going to play it safe. Squad Show returns after the game on Sunday. Make sure you check that out. Luke Inman hosts right here on Locked On Vikings and the audio on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for watching, listening, commenting, and subscribing to the Squad Show. We appreciate that, and we will talk to you next time.